Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast, Ins and Outs of Selling a Business. Today, I'd like to continue our conversation with one of our Osage team members, Geri Fitapelli. Geri is based in our Florida office. She's heading up our operations down there. Hi, Geri. How are you?
Very good, Keith. Doing great. Thank you.
All right. Well, I got to talk to our production team because I'm sitting here in the studio and it's 36 degrees. And last I checked down there in Naples, it's like 70 or so. So we got to turn this around or we got to be on site next time versus virtually.
Sounds good.
So Geri, we talked about, and we're really excited that you joined Osage. You bring a huge expertise, not just in your, as we talked about last, as a business valuation expert and real estate appraiser expert, but you built this phenomenal enterprise, this business, Valbridge. And I thought it would be really fun and interesting for our audience to hear about, how you envision this from nothing to this national firm. And I don't know, it's 80 offices, 700 people. It's big, right? So, and our clients, right? Most of our clients are either first or second generation, so they can appreciate, building something with an idea, what I wanted to do, and building it out. So, I'd love you to just kind of share a bit about your story and how you saw this and you were able to act and execute on it.
Sure, absolutely. So my background was in finance from my college degree. Got right into the valuation industry, doing primarily commercial appraisals and subsequently business valuations. Got my MAI, CBA, and CVA designations, which are real estate and business valuation designations. But most interestingly, it was back in 2011. Myself and 18 other people got together in Boston.
So how do you guys get together? I mean, he's like, a network from my.
We had he's our founder,
Right.
Stephen Bullock. He tried to find appraisers across the country that were very good quality appraisers, had good reputations, and he wanted to bring everybody together to try to share, share technologies, data sources,
best practices, all that stuff.
Yeah, best practices, because appraisers generally very local in nature, real estate appraisers, and we all kind of operate like an island all over the place. Right. Everybody's paying for the same data, the same sources. So it was a little unusual that somebody, said, "Do you want to meet and get together and discuss this?" So he started our meeting. So unbelievably, we all met. It was really interesting because I was very skeptical. Like, who are these people? I don't know any of them, but I'm going to meet them in Boston. Right. And we got along great. We had the same goals. So we sat there for 2 days, came up with a base plan. We set up a board of directors, we set up officers and some committees. And that was it. We left.
So you all bought into this concept of let's nationalize a localized business.
Well, let's help each other. Kind of started at that.
Well, got to help each other. Okay.
See what we can do.
Shared resources, things like that.
Yeah. So unbelievably enough, they elected me the chair of the board. So I get back and I'm like,
you must have said something right.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, okay, this is like ground zero here. Where do we start? So we started with the legal, and we decided, we studied various things, but we decided to go with a franchise model because it worked well with real estate appraisers, which are very local in nature, having a general territory to work out of. And what we decided was very different from most franchises because we decided to, we all owned the franchisor and we all had our own franchise. So the
Got it.
franchisees own the franchisor, so we can control ourselves. So it's a horizontal structure rather than a vertical structure. Um, and there's good and bad in that. It worked very
Right.
well because largely because we had a very good brain trust and we had the same goals. Um, so started out having to come up with territories, legal documents. If anybody wants to start a franchise, make sure you call me first. It's a lot of work.
Right.
Um, so yeah, we came up with systems. We had to have systems. We had to have, operating manuals. And
Like a
what we
business,
wanted was,
right?
yeah, exactly like a business. And so I had my own franchise, and then everybody else had their franchise. But now we had to go and bring more people in, more franchisees. But our criteria was we want a good fit. A good fit. That's really important because you
Right.
have to when you
And what do we
like
always
bringing
talk
in.
about? Yeah, we always talk about it at Osage.
Yes.
It's got to be a good fit. It's got to feel right. So interesting.
So yes, so very important to us, and that really helped us because we all own the company together. So over the next 10 years, we brought in we had 80 offices by the time I retired, I guess I'll say. I was the chair of the board for 10 years, almost 10
Okay.
years. We built the brand. We got our mark. We built the brand. And the big thing, uh, I think the reason we were so successful is we had a lot of trust. We had a lot of trust between each other. And um, we, we were independent. We were different than other national appraisal companies because we're not owned by a brokerage or an investment company.
Right.
We owned ourselves. And clients like that because appraisers have to be independent. And we made sure we had somebody managing each office that was very qualified. So we're a good fit, and we had good qualified people.
So
Um,
you're here. You are. You're the chairman of the board of this new concept that someone said, "Hey, we there's a better way of doing this, in our opinion, right?" So, but you're have all these credentials after your name, real estate and business appraiser, and you got your business, and then all of a sudden they're like looking to you and say, "Okay, Coach Jerry, go grow this, right? Let's make this bigger, right?" So how did you guys go about finding other partners that or franchisees? Was it through your networking? Was it through a marketing campaign? Was it through trade shows? I mean, what were some of the criteria that you guys wanted to use? Everybody has their criteria that these guys are a good fit for us.
it was mostly networking and personal contact. Um, we would reach out to the closest territory. Do you know anybody that who's good quality that would be a good fit for us? We would have, if there were a few, we did it regionally. We'd go and we'd meet with them, and we'd explain to them what we're doing. And one thing that most people liked was that we were developing our own systems that we could share, our own technology. We were developing operating manuals so we can work together. Um, and I think a lot of it was we had the same goals, like I said, and
Right.
there was a lot of trust. We built a lot of trust. So people, here we are, we own the franchise and we're franchisees, this is our company. And if you come in, you're going to be part of it, like bringing in a partner. But it was important
Right.
that we make sure we pick the right partner. So, and luckily, we were very good at that. That worked out very well. But a lot of the stuff we did to bring people in was the technology. We had to have our own software, database, and we went through a lot to, you know, vet what company we were going to work with to help us with our technology. It ended up, we ended up, it was kind of a fluke. We didn't want to do this, but and this is where we had to make a big pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so interesting. Whenever you're doing something, you might have to make a pivot, but you got to do it.
It always.
Technology,
Yep.
always. So we after vetting a lot of different companies, we ended up going with a small company for our software needs because they would kind of fit better with us. We wanted that. That was important to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked with this company. We were developing our templates and our software, and we were licensing it. And luckily, we had an agreement that let us purchase the company if there was a problem, because it was a
Right.
small company. We were concerned about that. Well, believe it or not, it was probably less than a year into this, maybe 6 months. The owner of the company passed away,
Oh,
and here we are now.
terrible.
We had to buy the company. So here we are now in the software business, which we didn't want, but we figured it out, and we own the software now. But that was a big pivot because that wasn't on our plan to buy a software company, but um, it
Well,
ended up good because we own the company, and that's kind of what we wanted, to be in control of ourselves.
oh, it's interesting
But
because you're sitting on that side of the desk now, right? Not so. I've also we're an advisory firm, right? Investment bank, but prior to this, I was I was a CPA and I was advising clients on their audit, tax, and planning needs, and then I sold off my practice and I went and I ended up running a couple companies, one in distress and one that was in growth mode. And once you get to the other side of the desk, right? I mean, because it's not just, things come up every day, right? It's not like, hey, I come in there to do your taxes or you're doing a valuation or real estate appraisal and then you leave. But the business owner that you and I can really relate to, right? And we've expressed this along through our team, educate them, is that there's a lot going on every day. And as you said, something comes out of left field that you didn't anticipate or you didn't plan for, or you may have made the wrong decision. No one's right all the time, but if you learn from your mistakes and improve on it, then and at the end of the day, you're a better person for it and your company's more healthier. So for you to say like, okay, well, there I am, I'm trying to do my business. You get a phone call that my software guy passed away. And like, you're sitting there like, oh, what am I do now? Right. And you got to bring your team together and say, okay, we have to do this. And so now you have this proprietary software platform, right? Or the company does, that everybody can scale from and use as their benefit, which adds value at the end of it. But in the beginning, you're looking at like, this could take us down, right?
yeah,
Or delay our
sometimes
expansion.
sometimes problems can lead to good things, but you have to be able
Right.
to pivot and deal with it. And I would say, just from experience, not just from my own experience, but looking at other companies, I think it's really important to plan an exit, if you want to call it exit, before
Right.
you want to exit. Get stuff, handled, get your documents done, because you never know what's going to happen. There could be a life event. We talked about that.
There's too many outside environmental, challenges or things that happen in areas to you that you can't plan for that happen. And we're a big believer in planning. We have clients that, as you know, that really didn't plan, but it's time to go. They have to make a decision for whatever reason. It could be their health, their spouse's health, their partner passed, or whatever, and it's just a point in their career where they just need to move on because they can't really invest in their business anymore because, they're at the point they don't want to invest in the business, right? They're at the stage of the career, they're not going to see the return on that investment. So if you don't reinvest in your business, then eventually it's going to catch up with you. Your competition is going to go by you and you're going to start losing business, right? So, the planning piece is interesting. So when you're at Valbridge, right, the company, you got these 18 people you started. Next thing you know, you're 36, right? And then you're 72. All of a sudden, managing people that you met with in Boston over a couple of days, and then they pointed to you, hey, by the way, we'll do this if you do it, right? And then all of a sudden you start to grow the people that you didn't really know, right? And you start to get it's anything. It's just like a bit like a guy. Our company's a new customer, or they're expanding their company, and it becomes a little bit outside of your control because you can manage it because you can look at the room and see everybody, but the next day you have somebody way over here or a different part of the country and you're not comfortable running it because you don't have the people or systems in place. How did you go about that? Because that's a big thing, I think, because you took it from a concept to a national company and you brought in a lot of people, but you still got to manage those personalities.
Right. Yeah, that's
To,
tough. Sometimes it's like herding cats. But I think the thing is we had a lot of meetings and we'd come together and we were kind of a family. It was kind of like we became family. And I think it's because of our structure being horizontal as opposed to vertical. We don't have anybody saying, you have to do this, you have to do this. We let everybody had their say because everybody was a shareholder. And there's good and bad in that.
right.
Everybody has their say. And then it's bad because everybody has their say. So you have to manage that and make sure you're getting stuff done also. So yeah, that was a lot of work. It's always a lot of work when you're managing a lot of people. But the thing is, we always were focused on the goal and,
Mm-hmm.
what we wanted to do, together. We wanted to make sure we were all doing well, our clients were doing well. We made things easier for everybody with our systems and technology. And we wanted to be, a good quality company. And, everybody that we brought in, because we felt like everybody was a good fit, it made it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you bring in an employee and they're a bad apple, that can make a lot of problems. So I think most business owners know that. So a good fit means a lot. I think, in my experience, just having my own company, my own franchise, plus, being the chair of the board, um, making sure you have a good fit and you're constantly, updating what you need to with technology and, those things and keeping, making sure everybody's got the same goal. Like we're still, if somebody wanders off because they're doing something they shouldn't, bring them back in. Here's what we agree on. Um, and it's for the good of everybody.
So were
So,
you when you were bidding new business, right? Because everybody says, okay, give me three appraisers or three business value. I need a value. So the lawyer calls you up and said, some of it's just have a good working relationship, a lot of trust, fine. Somebody could be a accounting firm or that knows you and how did you to help you leverage, put you in a competitive advantage that hey, we're a national firm and I
mhm.
have multiple resources. So how did that all play into helping you and your partners, shareholders, so like they build their business?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, that was one of the things everybody wanted. We wanted, more potential work.
Right.
Um, and a lot of clients want consistency. They want to know when they're getting a report from Valbridge, it's basically consistent and good quality and it's quality control.
Right.
Um, so one of the things we did was, obviously we wanted to build that brand so everybody can benefit from that, as opposed to just being in your own, your area and that's it. So for example, somebody from New York could say, or somebody can call the New York office and say, look, we have some property in Florida we want valued and we have, something in North Carolina. Can you help us? It makes it easier. Yes,
Right.
I'll send you to the offices or I'll send you to the corporate office and then they'll manage it, which is what we do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was, we build the brand together and that's what you want to do. So that was very helpful. Clients like that. Some stuff is still local. You're going to get your own, you have your clients, but it helped grow the revenues for everybody. And that was
Right.
one of
Which
the
is the
goals.
ultimate goal. Right.
Mhm.
So if you look back at it, I think what is it, 80 offices around the country or
Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
about right.
So
Yes.
right. And that's over what like a 10-year period, right? So it's pretty rapid
Yes.
expansion.
Yes.
And you were kind of like thrown into the role, hey, figure this out. I mean, obviously you had to bring everything to your partners and consensus, management like you're talking about, but it really, kind of buck stops with you or it starts with you, on these deals. if you look back at it, what hindsight's 2020 was, there's things that you would, maybe I would have tweaked a bit because you're running, rapid expansion, rapid growth, and you got to report. You're accountable to a lot of people, right? Because they're looking to you as chairman of the board, but they're also your partners or shareholders, right?
Mhm.
Franchisees, franchisors, whatever, you're all equal. And so when you look at it, anything that, and I always reflect myself about things like should have maybe done a little differently, and then I incorporate it now, but anything that you want to share with us about that experience, because, sometimes you take a deep breath after a while and you say, maybe I should have thought about this.
Mhm.
All business owners think that. So,
Yeah, of course. In our case, growing fast was tough. It was tough. It was a lot of work. We tried hard to make sure we picked the right people, and everything takes longer than you think. That's what I'll say.
exactly.
So even when sellers or business owners are looking to sell your company, you might think, well, I'll just start doing it later, but it it might take longer than you think just to get it to the point where you can market it. But yeah, underestimating time was a
Mm-hmm.
big thing. So, I'm a big proponent, as I've said here, plan, try to execute as you can. But, looking back, I think we did the best we could. Little mistakes here and there, but, and then of course, when major things happen, you got to pivot, kind of changes your plan. You just got to be
Right.
flexible for that. Um, because things are going to happen. Things are
Right.
going
You
to
try to
happen and
plan.
it'll take
Right.
longer than you think.
You try to plan for everything, but you can't, right? As I always say when we work with our clients, you've been doing this for over 23 years, working with multiple business owners in multiple industries, and you do the calculus in your head and you say, okay, I think I've communicated and discussed, we have a trusted relationship with our clients about, almost everything, but every deal is different. And there's always something, I call it underneath the table, that pops up at the end like, I didn't think about that. But you got to find an answer. You got to find a solution. That's the key, right? So, Geri, look, we're really excited that you joined us. You come with a huge wealth of experience, not only from understanding working with family close-sale businesses, but you also built a national company from a concept to a very successful enterprise. And to remind our audience, Geri heads up our Florida operation. We will be doing a new announcement sometime after the first of the year about our new office down there in the Naples area, and Geri's going to be responsible for not only growing Florida but also areas of the Southeast for Osage. And she comes with a wealth of experience and is a valued member of our team. Geri, thanks again for being here. And next time I'm going to come down there to do this podcast because it's 75 there and 35 here.
Very good. Very good. Looking forward to that. And thank you, Keith. And I'm very happy to be with Osage and love the group and very excited about expanding Florida.
Great. Well, thanks again for being with us. Everybody, to remind you, this is the Ins and Outs of Selling a Business podcast. My name is Keith D., President of Osage Advisors. We're a investment bank working with business owners of family close-sale companies with revenues of $5 million and up. Osage has been around for 23 years now. We're going into our 23rd year now. To learn more about our firm, you can visit our website at osageadvisors.com. Send me an email at kdee@osageadvisors.com, or feel free to pick up the phone and give me a call at 860-767-3273, extension 1001. Thanks again for being with us, and have a great day.